Pirates spring training baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by McDonald's. And on this warm and breezy Florida Friday, what a way to start the weekend. We've got the Pirates and the Tampa Bay Rays coming up from McCutchen Field. And welcome into the booth. Joe Block along with Bob Walk here this afternoon. And today we're going to see the Pirates back in action. And, you know, we're getting to the point in spring training where we're starting to get a feel for what these guys are going to maybe give us this year. And Juan Nicasio gets the nod today for the Bucks.
Well, the first couple of games that we've seen him in, he's pitched very well. The control has been there. Nice tight slider. Been able to really command both sides of the plate with an above average fastball. So you really like what you see from him. And one of the ingredients you have to have with a winning team every year is you have to have not only good 5 starters, but some starting pitching depth. You know, guys get hurt. Sometimes there's some, guys aren't pitching up to the way you think they're going to. You got to make changes. You want some extra guys. So Nicasio this spring is going to be stretched out, and he's kind of maybe a plan B type guy in that rotation.
And he's been a starting pitcher before with Colorado, but last year with the Dodgers it moved into a different role.
Yeah, moved into the bullpen role, and also moved out of that Coors Field, that ballpark that gives up so many home runs. And of course his numbers came down, ERA came down. He pitched very well, but I still think, and I think the Pirates think, that if they need him to go back into that rotation, the numbers will still stay at that lower level. They won't go back to where he was at Coors Field, whether he's starting or relieving.
Yeah, better ballpark to pitch in, that's for sure. PNC Park here today at McCutchen Field. Well, the talented outfield all in the starting lineup this afternoon, as Polanco and McCutchen and Starling Marte all in there. Francisco Cervelli in the lineup as well. We'll have it for you up next here on Root Sports. Skyway Bridge here in the Tampa Bay region. And it's an easy commute for the Rays faithful, a little bit shorter than coming down from Bradenton from Pittsburgh. But they're here today watching this one where Juan Nicasio gets the nod today. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, building on a couple of strong performances from earlier this spring.
Yeah, I really, anxious to see if he can continue that good work. As we were talking in the open, it's important to have a 6, 7, even 8 starting pitchers that you can see are guys you can depend on a little bit. And, we've talked a lot about the younger guys that Tyone and Glass now, and I think that Nicasio is going to be in that same situation at some point in the season. Somebody is going to have to go on the DL for a little while, or maybe they're not performing the way that you really need them to perform on a winning team, and you're going to have to run somebody else out there. So who's the next guy up? And Nicasio is certainly somebody that we know we need to watch, and is going to possibly have one of those, I like to call them, I don't know, plan B jobs for no other reason. But it's all about having that depth in that starting rotation.
A just in case type guy. And here a little bit bright, but some clouds above us as well. And a nice warm afternoon here in Bradenton. And a lot of the regulars in there, like Francisco Cervelli today. Getting to that point of spring training where we're starting to see them play a little bit more, as we're more than a week into the games now. And first, the visitors from Tampa Bay. The Rays lineup this afternoon. Steven Souza Jr. starts things. The Gold Glover Kevin Kiermaier. Desmond Jennings back in action. Logan Morrison cleans up. Kurt Casale, the DH. Brad Miller, acquired from Seattle, plays short. Taylor Motter, Hank Conger, Richie Schaefer round out the Rays 9. And Kevin Cash, young manager of the Tampa Bay Rays, who looked to really make this one interesting.
I'll take a look at Juan's numbers, brought to you by UPMC. And only one start last year, 53 relief appearances. As you pointed out in the open, that was a little different. The Dodgers got him and put him in that bullpen, and he responded with a nice season with the 58 innings of work, the ERA in the 3s. And you wonder, was that because he went to the bullpen, or was it because he got out of Coors Field? So we'll have to wait and see how he responds to PNC Park, which is a little bit of a pitcher's ballpark, I would say.
And he'll have a very nice defense behind him, not only in the regular season, but today, too. Regular outfield, Marte, McCutchen, and Polanco. Jason Rogers over at third base. Another look at Cole Figueroa in the infield, as well as Alan Hansen, who has had a nice spring. John Jaso getting his work over at first base. My hair idol on the team. And that cloud cover will might make a few pop flies interesting, as will the wind.
Always interesting here.
How about those spring tops for the Rays at bright light blue? Steven Souza Jr. will lead it off. And the game's first pitch. Good start for the Bucks. I was mentioning a moment ago about the Rays. I'm really curious about the American League East this year. I think that's going to be maybe the most tightly contested division. And the Rays think that they've got a shot.
Well, for so many years, it was just who was going to win. Was it going to be the Red Sox or the Yankees?
Well, the Orioles going all in.
It's been a while since it was just nothing but Yankee Red Sox. Now it has been very competitive over there for a while. Yeah. And most of those American League East teams, when we're in the Grapefruit League, it's like being in the American League East because they're all right around us. We get a good look at those guys.
It is nice to see the American League quite a bit in spring training. Little High makes it 2-2. Of course, Toronto wanted to defend their division title from last year.
Yeah, we have everybody here. We have Toronto here. We have the Rays here, obviously. Yankees just on the other side of the bay. Baltimore just across town.
Yeah, nice commute. Nice when you can go in spring training. You don't have to go anywhere. This one hit well to right. But Polanco able to start the ball game off right as Souza Jr. flies out.
And of course, the Red Sox are just down the interstate about an hour, so we get a good look at all those American League East teams.
That'd be about the only disappointing part about it. Yeah, sure, you can go see your team in spring training. It's a nice, easy ride from where you're at, but you don't get to turn it into a vacation like we get to do. Probably one of the best guys in the American League you may not have heard of, Kevin Kiermaier, Gold Glover. Well, they got the, what do we call that? That powder blue top today, right?
Mm-hmm. Sky blue, maybe?
Yeah, for the Rays, yeah.
Yeah, they've kind of gone away from being a ray, like a fish ray, to being sunshine rays.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of rays shining through today, just a few. Right to Hansen. And Nicasio with 2 up and 2 down. Yeah, they were the Devil Rays, which were, like you said,
the fish.
Yeah. And now they're more of a sun ray. Desmond Jennings did not get into too many games last year because of injury.
Kind of ironic that they're trying to name their team after sunshine and they play where there is none.
Tropicana Field.
Inside a dome.
And not a retractable dome either. And a base hit for Jennings. And Logan Morrison will clean up this afternoon. But yeah, the Rays moved into a ballpark that was built well before the Rays even existed as a team. St. Petersburg wanted a franchise. Almost got the Giants, I think, right? Wasn't that
you never,
for a time?
You
never know how that works.
Yeah. Are they just kind of being used for leverage or what? Could have been just a high leverage situation.
Yeah. That's where the term originated from, right? Yeah, the White Sox, I think, were rumored before they built the new Comiskey Park, which it was at that time. So, but once expansion was granted, the Devil Rays came into play. And barely back in.
Might have hurt. I think that throw got him in the side.
Sounded like it hit him.
And he's rubbing on it a little bit. Ouch.
Quick move by Nicasio, almost caught him. Yeah, Jennings used to run quite a bit. Let's see if he might be in the motion. Foul back here. Morrison last year with Seattle. And the Rays trying to pick up again some guys maybe undervalued. Highly thought of guys. Good spot to be on a Friday afternoon. Start that weekend early. One. I don't know if that crossed him up there.
Florida, every day's Friday.
I was just going to say, I mean, if you're down
every single day feels like, the weekend's about to start.
Yeah, they've got the, I mean, it might be 5 o'clock up there, yeah. And then that one guy, he's a few hours ahead of schedule, too. Why not? Good mix today of Pirates fans and Rays fans. It's nice to have the opposing team in the home ballpark. You have some good-natured fun with them. Now the 1-2.
It's got to be different, though, having your spring training in the same area where you play the regular season.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks have that same thing. They train over in Phoenix, or near Phoenix, Scottsdale. They actually play down the coast in Port Charlotte, the home games. So it's actually a little bit farther away. But this is more of almost a home game for the Rays.
Maybe we should train like in Washington, PA or something.
See if the Wild Things open up their ballpark. Almost too good of a pitch there. Just sunk out of the zone. Clint Fagan, the home plate umpire today. Spring training, the umpires move around the bases, so we'll see that trio rotate as the game moves on.
Get a little work everywhere.
Jennings will be on the move. 3-2. And he lost him.
Now McCutchen, I'm sure he's upset with himself. He had a couple of real quick outs in this inning to where he was setting himself up to, just get off to a real good start. And then you get the ground ball, and it was just well placed up the middle. No big deal there. But then he missed with that pitch, didn't get called a strike, and then really threw that one well out of the strike zone. So now, what could have been a real quick, clean inning, it still could be okay, but now it's got the possibility of having to throw 20 pitches or something like that. And not ideal when you had the opportunity in front of you to really get out clean.
Might stretch them out to 3 innings today.
And they really keep you on a short leash in spring training as far as your pitch count. Even shorter than, of course, during the regular season. So you don't want to waste any.
Here's Kurt Casale. DH. Rays use the DH today. Pirates do not. And Nicasio last year, when he moved into the bullpen with the Dodgers, the walks went up, but so did the strikeouts. So command has been something that has been an issue for him. But as we've seen with a lot of guys coming over to Pittsburgh, sometimes that just isn't a problem anymore.
I think also when guys go from the rotation to the bullpen, they know they're only going to be out there for an inning or so, sometimes even just for a couple of hitters, and they have a tendency to really just air it out, hold nothing back, go as hard as they can, because they're only going to throw maybe 20 pitches a whole game. Ooh, nice timing on that pickoff to Hansen.
Almost got him. Dirtied up his oven mitt.
That was real nice timing. And so sometimes you see that the strikeouts will go up along with the walks a little bit because they're going max effort with their good best stuff all the time. Whereas when they're a starter, they're trying to pace themselves a little bit. They'll back off, try and stay away from base on balls at all costs early in a game anyway.
Well, Neil Huntington was talking about Nicasio, how he would like for him to still keep that reliever mentality if he's starting in a ball game, and really, instead of pacing himself, really get after guys and use his best stuff throughout the game. Here's his 1-2. Struck him out. And Nicasio rebounds. Strands a pair of Rays. Pirates coming to bat here in Bradenton. starts coming to bat here in the bottom of the first inning. Alan Hansen getting a look in the leadoff role today.
He definitely has the tools to hit there. Good speed.
And a nice start for him at 500 as we look at our RAV4 lineup. Gregory Polanco, McCutchen, Marte, the outfield. Jaso, Cervelli, all the regulars in there. Jason Rogers over at third base. Figueroa, and then Juan Nicasio. And Jake Odorizzi.
Odorizzi's numbers on the season. 28 starts last year, 31 in his rookie year. Pretty consistent. Done a nice job. He was able to, even though he didn't start as many games last year, he was able to bump his innings per start up a little bit. It's something that's very hard to do nowadays. I was looking at his stats, his career stats, starting off when he was in rookie ball in, I think, 2008. And you see one column that's got nothing but zeros in it all the way down in that complete game column. You just don't see that anymore.
Oh, especially in the minor leagues.
There's nothing but zeros.
And behind 3-0.
Hey, you would think that, one of these days maybe that column won't even be there anymore. Why keep track of it?
Yeah, it's doesn't really happen at all in the minors. There's a strike to Hansen. Even in those double headers where a guy goes, the games are 7 innings. Maybe once in a great while you see a guy go 7.
7, yeah. And I was about to, kind of bring that up. Hansen does a good job to lead off here. Gets on with a walk. We were, talking about what Neil wants to see from Nicasio. Go ahead and go at him. Or go hard. Don't pace yourself. Well, nowadays I think you kind of can do that as much as you want, because you're only really asked to go 6 innings most of the time anyway as a starting pitcher now.
Very rare is the day where maybe the bullpen's overworked and they may ask you to try to stretch it out. But yeah, 6. Especially with the bullpen the Pirates have. Here's Gregory Polanco.
See how active Hansen is right away out on the paths.
Team leading 3 steals this spring. Polanco last year, some stages where he was really good. Trying to come into his own at age 24. And he's picked off.
One of the advantages of that left-handed first baseman, you can really drop that tag down very quick.
Word's getting around that Alan Hansen likes to run.
I don't know. He might have had that hand back in there. That would have been interesting in the regular season on a replay. Yeah, he had an excellent lead. He was really pushed out there a long ways. And if you're going to be a base stealer, you have to occasionally get picked off. You got to take a little bit of a chance.
Get that big lead. One and 2. Odorizzi will mix up that changeup and a slider too. And we saw that slow lollipop curve he'll throw every now and then. It's a good young pitcher. This Rays rotation could be sneaky good this year as they're getting some guys coming back healthy now and as the year comes on when Alex Cobb returns. Matt Moore is back. And Polanco battling here.
Odorizzi got ahead of him with the off-speed stuff. And so now, even though he's not throwing the ball real hard, just about 90 miles an hour, Polanco has been late to get to these last 2 fastballs. Foul him the other direction.
And gets him to pop it up into left. Jennings for the second out.
That would be a great at bat to watch to explain about destroying a hitter's timing, getting him a little behind, a little ahead. Basically, that's exactly what you saw from Polanco there. He was a little ahead on the first couple of strikes. Then he couldn't catch up to the fastball because he tried to make an adjustment, and then he knew he was behind the fastball. And then on the last pitch he popped up, he tried to speed up a little bit to try and catch up again, and sure enough, it was off speed, and you saw a little one-handed kind of out on the front foot swing for the pop-up. Just that's pitching. Just trying to destroy that hitter's timing, get him a little behind or a little ahead. Stay out of that sweet spot of his.
McCutchen even now at 1-1. Can you use the fastball as a change of pace in that case? I mean, if you're throwing all off-speed stuff, then pitch back.
Well, yeah. Once you get ahead with the off-speed stuff, now that opens up a lot of possibilities for you, because the hitter's having to make some adjustments now. He gets very defensive, and so now that fastball, especially if it's on the inside part on the hands, it's tough for him to start the swing soon enough to get the head of the bat all the way around where he can catch the ball on the screws. So to get ahead off speed I think is always a big advantage.
And he falls behind here, though, 3-1. Well, now an advantage for the hitter when you fall behind.
As long as you have a pitcher that doesn't have a lot of confidence in throwing off-speed pitches for strikes, now you got him in a fastball count. You can maybe just sit on it.
Got one and found it back.
A great pitch to hit. A fastball. He's not a hard thrower. It looked like it was elevated just a little bit. And during the season, Catch won't miss too many of those. In a 3-1 count to boot.
Hitters work on their timing here in spring training and don't get regular at bats really until maybe that second half of spring training. Kind of play every other game or so. Struck him out. Back-to-back fastballs from Odorizzi. We're through an inning from Bradenton. No score.
Here in Bradenton, Florida, no score between the Buccos and the Rays. I'm Robbie Smikowski. Today is a first ever for Major League Baseball. It is MLB's Snapchat Day. And if you're a fan of the app Snapchat, make sure you tune in to follow the Pirates. You can follow a lot of cool stories, such as this one with the Pirates outfielders goofing around, having a good time inside the dugout. Also, Alan Hansen having a lot of fun. There's also a follow for MLB Spring Training. You'll get all kinds of stories going on. Add them to your story. And make sure you check out MLB's Snapchat Day today. Joe and Bob, I don't know if you guys are big fans of the app Snapchat, but a lot of cool behind-the-scenes looks you can get for the first time ever. And players can have their phones with them in the dugouts today and take pictures during the game and send stories.
Maybe we'll call down to him and find out what's going on. There's a base hit right there. A little poke from Brad Miller. Now you got to have one of them smartphones, huh, to use the Snapchat. No, that's it's really cool. I'm really a big fan of all that. I don't have it.
Yeah.
I know it's free, but I think that's really cool that that baseball's kind of at least in spring training. You know, you can.
I'll have to show you how that works.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Give me a little tutorial.
Yeah, well, I'll do that in between innings.
Now that is quite. That's like a taco hat with pictures on it, and a baseball bat, and a ball.
It took a little thought to put that together. I like it.
Everyone's got to have a taco hat with pictures pasted on it. That's a true
bat
fan.
Ball on top.
Yeah. There's a strike. Taylor Motter, who is got that good flow going.
A Snapchat sounds to me like a real good slider. A nickname for a real good slider. Maybe just snaps in there
and then you got to chat about it in the dugout.
Yeah. It chats to the bat as it's going by. Miss me. The guy's got a Snapchat slider.
I think you should use that. That's going to catch on. Especially with Nicasio today. We might
I can barely say it.
But, you know, this is what spring training's all about. We're practicing, too. I like where baseball's going with, trying to incorporate the technology. But baseball is always going to be, in my opinion, is always going to be history, tradition. But you can embrace all the new stuff, too, all at the same time. That's why I think baseball's got it figured out. Left it upstairs. You know, what do you think about?
I agree. I think that the new technology has changed all aspects of everyone's life. So baseball certainly can't be different. And starting with years ago when the players started, with the Twitter and tweeting, and they could actually talk directly to the fans.
That's what makes it so cool.
Great thing, yeah.
Hung it up there a bit.
We got a man there.
But McCutchen able to hold it in. And you can personalize your experience at PNC Park with the official MLB.com Ballpark app. The free app includes daily game information, ballpark app, maps, seat upgrades, exclusive content. Plus, you can unlock special offers at the ballpark when you check in. Visit the iTunes Store or Google Play Store to download today. Now, that's the one I got. I got that one. No score here in the second with Miller on at first. Hank Conger. That one's going to be trouble.
A couple little dunkers here for base hits this inning.
How do you evaluate a pitcher in spring training?
Well, it depends on young guy, old guy. It depends on what his job description is and what he's trying to get accomplished out there. I think most of the time, for an older guy like if Francisco Liriano was out there, I just want to see stuff. Is that okay? Is the control where it normally is? And whether they're giving up hits or anything, that's totally irrelevant. How do you say that? Irrelevant?
Sure.
So
Snapchat.
With a young guy, it's a little bit different because he's trying to get outs, that he's trying to make the team. So you have to look a little bit, well, how successful is he as far as, what he's trying to do, because he's very serious about it.
This is Richie Schaefer.
But as far as like your statistics, I really don't care much about the spring training stat sheet. And really, probably until about May 1st is when, for me, the stat sheet starts to take on some importance.
Both runners on the move. Nice play by Rogers.
Beautiful.
He's got one. He's got two. And Jason Rogers starting the double play to end the inning. 2 hits, 1 left for Tampa Bay, and Jason Rogers with a round of applause after this nice double play. We're here at McCutchen Field. No score. Spring training baseball brought to you by McDonald's. Pirates trying to get on the scoreboard after that nice double play turned by Jason Rogers. Jake Odorizzi to work to Starling Marte. What a fine year a year ago for Marte. And performing well this spring training too. There's that lollipop curve. Yeah, 5 for 11 this spring for Marte. Now ball and 2 strikes, and we look at Starling Marte, and what a really nice year of progress that he had last year, winning a Gold Glove, offensively moving up.
Yeah, really, he did everything that I think fans and the baseball operation people all wanted to see from him. He just keeps continuing to get better and better, and is becoming not only just a big league player, but a star big league player.
We'll talk with hitting coach Jeff Branson coming up next half inning. Yeah, what are we looking forward to for this year? I mean, when you say sky's the limit on certain guys, I mean, if Marte does what he did last year, you feel really good, but you feel like he could even do more, perhaps.
Well, yeah, I thought that he is capable of being a 20 home run guy, and with the tremendous base running skills he has, he could steal 50 bases.
He's running.
Forget it.
And he's going to beat that out.
He's one of the quickest guys from the right side that I've ever seen. He's got that knack of, as he follows through with his swing, of already taking that first step. I mean, he just flies out of that box. No one's ever got a chance of throwing him out on a ball like that. Like he's taking all day. He's even just kind of cruising down the line. He knew he had it. He's watching the whole time. Now he'll try to push the envelope on his lead also, just like Hansen did.
The Pirates have been very aggressive on the bases. Here's John Jaso. And speaking of the base running, let's look at our barrel league leaders. And last year, Starling Marte among the leaders in steals. Gregory Polanco was number 6. Those top 2 guys, no one's going to beat out those guys. But Marte and Polanco, they're going to get up there in that leaderboard. Marte was running. I'll have to try again.
Well, with the speed that Jaso's going to have most of the time hitting in front of him, if he bats in this part of the lineup, he won't necessarily have to be a big home run guy to get RBIs.
That's a good question, where he might go. Ahead in the count, 2-1. Against the shift, they're going to get 1. They'll get 2. Nimbly played. And with 3 men on the right side, they're able to get 2 against Jaso.
And that's the ball also that the shift is going to work on. As in the past, if you shifted way over, you were just moving your second baseman kind of out of the play to go over toward that hole a little bit. So there would be nobody really playing up the middle, just to the right of second base. But when you put the shift on, that's the spot where now you have somebody. In the past there wouldn't be.
Cervelli Gets it to center, but the leadoff hit erased. Jeff Branson coming up. We'll talk some hitting up next. No score. We start the third inning scoreless. Pirates and Rays here on this Friday afternoon. I got a special guest here as Pirates hitting coach Jeff Branson joins us. And we are thrilled to have you on. Thanks for making some time for us.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
You know, I'm really curious about, you know, what do you we were just talking, Walkie and I were talking about how do you evaluate guys in spring training? So for you hitters, what can you take from things that you see in the spring?
Well, the biggest thing we're trying to get these guys to do is, you know, the message to them is be the type of hitter that the inning is calling for you to be. Whether if you're the leadoff hitter in that inning, whether you're the 4 hitter on the lineup, be a leadoff hitter that inning. You know, it's every at bat is a team at bat, but again, just whatever the inning calls for you to be that type of hitter.
Jeff, is that something new that, you know, trying to make these spring training games more like the regular season, or something you guys have done in the past? Or
well, we're trying to. That's just another area that we're trying to enhance offensively, to get their minds specifically to being that type of hitter, more of a team offensive-minded thing. And again, it's just for them to focus of not being the hitter I want to be, but being the hitter that the team needs you to be at that point in time.
Over the last years, and maybe the last couple of years, there's been a couple of guys, and I guess the most visible one was last year with Kutch, that have gotten off to slow starts in the month of April. What kind of things can they do to maybe try and change that? Or is there no real magic wand answer that you got to do?
Well, I wish I knew the answer, Walkie. You know, again, you know, spring training is for timing and rhythm, tracking, being able to get used to seeing balls come at you. We do different things, you know, like Cage, you see breaking balls come at you. We're using the execution game more this year than we ever have. Last year it was, or the last couple of years, it's just been for the 4 or 5 days that we've been at Pirate City. But since we've been over here at McCutchen, we've continued that, again, stressing the fact of being able to handle the bat, use the barrel in different situations, different scenarios, to be able to do some things to be able to help the team out and scratch and claw runs. And you know, that's who we have to be as a team. We have to be able to manufacture runs.
Jeff Branson joining us. You know, I'm curious too, as being new to this outfit, I'm looking at you know, all the talk about on base and trying to have more of an emphasis on, you know, putting the ball in play, and how much of that can you teach, or is it just the guys that are put in the lineup, that's just kind of how they are?
Well, that's the message that we preach every day. You know, being hard-headed with our plan, simplifying our approach, split the plate in half, one pitch, one spot. I mean, you'll hear this over and over, and it sounds like a recording down here if you're down here a lot. But this is how we get them ingrained in their mind, is just repeat it over and over and over. Again, regardless if you're a free swinging guy, we still have to have a plan and approach of how to beat the guy on the mound. All the thoughts go away from us when we get in the box, and it's strictly toward how to beat that pitcher on the mound.
Along the lines of approach, what are you telling your guys nowadays when the teams are shifting so much? I mean, is there going to be an adjustment down the road, not necessarily by your guys, but by all of baseball, to where you might start doing something different instead of just hitting into the shift?
We're going to have to, Walkie, because, again, there's too many things out there that go against us as offensively, for the positioning stuff. So we have to be able to not try to manipulate our swing, but really back the ball up in the zone, because, like I say, majority of the time, the opposite side of the infield is really open. Mm-hmm. So, again, we're stressing to these guys to really make sure you try to back this ball up in the zone as much as you can. Again, the guys that get shifted a lot really have to force themselves to back the ball up in the zone and use the opposite side of the field. Because, again, there's too much history in the game now that anybody can get to and say this guy has more tendency to hit the ball here than he does anywhere else. So they're going to play them odds. So we have to be able to defy the odds and really be able to back the ball up and use the opposite side of the infield.
By back the ball up, you're meaning to let it get deeper in the strike zone, closer to the catcher's glove at contact?
Exactly, Walkie. Like I say, letting the ball travel. Because, again, if we try to hit the ball out in front of the plate, contact point becomes way out there. Now it becomes pull side.
It really makes him a better hitter anyway.
Without a doubt it does.
Trying to do that.
Without a doubt.
Well, don't give it all away. That's a good question from a pitcher.
Oh, pitchers have known that forever.
Hey, Walker was a good hitter in his day now. Don't let him fool you.
You hit one out, didn't you?
One, yes.
Okay.
Hey, you say you got one, right?
Yeah, it's like you're trying to check every box, so I got lucky one time. 90-mile-an-hour wind blowing out at Wrigley.
Do you work with pitchers at all? I mean, in spring training? I mean, we're seeing that they're already in the games, already hitting.
Jeff Livesey, our assistant hitting coach, he's really hands-on with them guys. And we're talking about specifying things to them as we do the hitters, really letting the ball get deep, handling the barrel, manipulating the barrel to the ball, short and direct swings. So all the majority of the things that we give the hitters, Liver gives to the pitchers too, because again, they have to be able to. Because if they can extend their innings by getting a hit or getting a bunt down or handling the bat, then they're going to be out there for a while longer.
Well, I want to say you did a great job with the pitchers last year. I mean, it was amazing, the difference. They really responded.
Liver did. Liver worked his butt off, and that was a part of the emphasis coming into spring training, was to be able to put the emphasis on not only the pitching side of it, but the pitchers being able to handle the bat when they get in the box. So it only helps us out because, we got some big hits last year, from our pitchers, with the home runs and driving in runs and putting quality at-bats together. So, again, it only helps our team for sure.
Jeff, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Walkie.
Jason Rogers to start things off. Bottom of the order for the Pirates here in this scoreless game. Nice play at third base by Rogers earlier. Starting an inning-ending double play.
A fine job for the Brewers last year coming off the bench, right?
One of the leading pinch hitters last year, and he was a rookie.
Leading pinch hitters in the league, not just for the Brewers.
But thanks again to Jeff Branson on the right, Jeff Livesey, assistant hitting coach on the left.
I really tip my hat to what we were talking about there at the end of those guys working with the pitchers. I mean, that used to never really happen at all. Never. It was, they're pitchers. They can't hit.
Rogers fouls this one off.
But they really made the effort. The pitchers themselves made the effort to do better. And, you know, guys that were just absolute outs, couldn't even get the ball in play. All of a sudden now they cut down the strikeouts. They get the ball put out and play occasionally. And as Jeff said, got some pretty big hits last year for him.
Well, pitchers overall in baseball last year hit 132. So if you can just do better than that,
well, it really
you're better than average.
I've always said that if as a pitcher, just don't strike out. Get the ball put in play. You're going to hit 130 just by hitting a ground ball every time up because they're going to be in a hole occasionally.
But probably even more important is the sacrifice.
Get the bunts down, do all that kind of stuff. Help yourself out. Don't just be an easy automatic out. You know, against especially the better pitchers, you know, you're going to strike out occasionally, but just go up there and battle.
Odorizzi strikes out Rogers to start the third.
Even the regular strikeout. It happens.
Second one for Odorizzi. He's allowed the previous two leadoff men to get on, but both erased on the bases, so he's faced the minimum. Cole Figueroa, another guy trying to be part of the Pirates bench. Figueroa having some experience with the Rays a couple of years ago.
Well, that's where the question marks are. The end of the bench in the dugout and the end of the bench in the bullpen.
That's nice when those question marks are few and far between.
Yeah, that's all it is to be decided, as long as no trades and everyone gets through spring training pretty healthy.
Hard hit and a base hit for Figueroa. And he'll end up with a one-out double.
Very, very versatile on defense, infield and outfield.
First extra base hit of the spring for Figueroa.
He didn't wait for that one to get deep in the zone. He went out and got that out in front. Pulled it down that line.
So a runner on for Sean Rodriguez, who will pinch hit for Nicasio. Nicasio in his third appearance issues 3 scoreless innings, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. And for Nicasio now, off to a good start. 6 scoreless innings in the spring, and Mark Melancon will take over. Missing in 2-0. And Sean Rodriguez 4 for 11 in the spring. (2-0) and behind 3-0. Wanted to see one and got ball 4. And bucks on the pond now for Alan Hansen coming up. Hey, a new season of Pirates baseball at PNC Park begins Sunday, April 3rd, when the St. Louis Cardinals come to town. 1:05 p.m. for opening day. And then the series continues on April 5th and 6th at 7:05. You can go to Pirates.com and get your opening series tickets today. That is going to be fun. The first pitch of the baseball regular season, for the first time as far as we know, will be thrown in Pittsburgh. Alan Hansen takes a strike. Walk his first time.
And for years, it was kind of tradition that would always happen in Cincinnati. But they kind of passed that honor around a little bit now.
And Cincinnati, of course, because it's the first professional team. The Cincinnati Red Stockings of 1869. There's that curve for a strike. And quite the cavalcade that they have. It is definitely a festive atmosphere in Cincy for the opener, and as it will be on a Sunday afternoon in Pittsburgh. You don't have to skip work. And baseball is going to now have 3 games on that Sunday prior to the traditional Monday opening day. And right off the bat, game 1 will feel like it matters quite a bit. Against the Cardinals, who
and I think the Pirates have kind of learned over the last couple of years that those early April games make a difference when it comes down to late September. You gotta be ready to go right from when the season starts, because it doesn't really make any difference when you're playing the Cardinals or the Cubs, the teams that you hope to be in competition with. You got to hang some losses on those guys early.
Hansen now evens the count. Now, Pirates last year starting 18-22, but then playing the rest of the year on a 106 win pace. So, you know, if you can eliminate, I mean, you're going to have stretches where you don't play well, of course, but a 40-game stretch where you're under 500.
And those stretches that you're not playing well, you kind of interleague, when you're playing an American League team or something like that, that doesn't hurt you nearly as much as when you're playing that in your own division, especially the guys that you got to beat. That's where you really have to beat your best.
Pirates will be challenged a bit on the road. 24 of the first 38 are on the road. But again, opening at home against the Cardinals. 3-2, and Hansen strikes out. 3-2 slider.
It looked pretty straight. It was off speed. I think it might have been a changeup. But, I mean, that's one of the things in the big leagues that you have to learn to adjust. There's not many situations where you can just assume, okay, I'm getting a fastball here. Like, you know, an A ball, I think, you know, a couple of guys on base, first and second, 1 out, 3-2 count. You're not going to see a lot of off-speed stuff. They're going to try and throw you a fastball for a strike. But you cannot just sit on it. And that is a perfect situation there where if you're allowing the ball to get deep in the strike zone.
Polanco. But it hangs up there for Kiermaier, and the inning ends. Hitting a walk, 2 left. We're scoreless through 3.
Well, back here in a beautiful day in Bradenton, and if you go to a Pirates home game every Friday, it's Free Shirt Friday at PNC Park, and one lady has taken it to an extreme, and in a fantastic way. Extreme, I mean, making a quilt out of all her Free Shirt Friday T-shirts. This is Nancy Thomas along with her husband Steve. They're from Elwood City. Nancy, what inspired you to make these quilts out of the shirts you get every home game, every Friday at PNC Park?
Well, we had quite a few of them floating around the house, and we couldn't possibly wear all of them, so I decided to just make a quilt out of them.
Good stuff. Now, this is 5 years running that you made these shirts, and one cool story is former Pirates closer Jason Grilli. You made a couple quilts for him. What was that like, and what did he ask you to do?
That was really nice. He came over to autograph the one I had, and he said, would you make one for me? And I said, I had to think about it for a minute, but I said, sure. So he got me the shirts, and I made one, and then he wanted me to make another one, so I did, and that was a Detroit Tigers one because he played for them for a while. And then I got to make his all-star quilt, and I was really thrilled about that. And I made him a few more after that.
Who's where all Jason Grilli's quilts are these days, Joe and Bob, but what a cool way to put those free shirts to use on Free Shirt Friday. Maybe somebody else could come up and make another quilt like this, right, Joe?
Well, let's see. Walkie, I don't know about your crocheting skills or weaving ability, but mine is not nearly as good as hers. So
I would have to be like Grilli and get someone to do it for me, that's for sure. I wouldn't be able to come anywhere close to having that. And Mark Melanson takes the mound. Guy that took Grilli's spot. And closer of this team.
Did a fine job again. 51 saves last year. Facing Logan Morrison to start the Rays' fourth inning. Well, the way things have warmed up back in Pittsburgh, you don't need one of those quilts just yet.
No, see, we could have spring training in Washington, PA. Weather's fine.
Well, you can keep campaigning for it, but I don't mind Bradenton. It's been nice. Now, you can't tell that I've gotten a tan or anything down here. You'd probably think I was in Washpod the whole time, but yeah, it's not so bad down here, Walker.
It is absolutely gorgeous down here.
No palm trees up there.
I've been so fortunate in my life to be able to come to this place for, I don't know, last 30-some years.
Now, can you get that up there? I guess you could put a fake one. No. There is a place at the Wexford exit there called T-Bones. Okay. Right to Jaso, one out.
They don't do it anymore, but they used to truck in palm trees every summer and plant them around the parking lot, the gas station.
I guess they could last the summer, right?
Yeah, and then when the fall would come, they would dig them up, put them back on the truck, and take them south somewhere. But every summer they'd have the palm trees there. It was kind of a neat thing, but a little piece of Florida would come north for the summer.
Now, you can't get the citrus.
No, you got to go to Giant Eagle for that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Here's Kirk and Sally.
No orange trees that I know of. Although my wife Lori has started to grow a lemon tree in the dining room. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when it gets to be a certain size, but
it just grows through the upstairs. No?
It's doing well. I don't know what's going to happen when it gets to what we're going to do with it when it gets big, but
you'll probably make lemonade.
Just tried an avocado tree a few years ago, and then that got to a point where it was so big we had to burn it in the fireplace in the wintertime.
So I know where to get my guacamole. Go to the Walk household year round. Tough sun today, but Jaso makes it look easy. Took the wife and daughter to Mixon's. There it is. That's right up the street from Pirate City.
Yeah, just almost a walking distance really from Pirate City. And kind of it's I don't know of anybody that comes down to see Pirate spring training that doesn't go over to Pirate City and kind of look and watch the minor leaguers for a while. And they always go to Mixon's all the time.
First time for us.
You have to go there.
Got some grapefruit juice, orange juice.
If you love orange juice, you can't miss that spot.
Saw a white raccoon too. Got some wildlife over there. How about Mark Melanson? A quick, tidy 1-2-3 inning yet again. Something you'll only see here in Florida. Getting those oranges all squeezed and ready for your fridge.
Pirates Spring Training Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the brand new all-wheel drive Toyota RAV4 Drive Hybrid. There's so much to discover with just one tank. And by UPMC, life-changing medicine. Let's go Bucks!
Andrew McCutchen will lead it off. And he sends one deep to left field, and no doubt about this one. There it goes, a home run for McCutchen. And the Pirates on top 1-0.
It looked like he was kind of sitting on one of those slow curve balls. And no adjustment in the swing. It was like that's exactly what he was looking for. Thinking, okay, slow curveball for a strike to start me off, and I'm going to be waiting for it.
First home run for McCutchen. Raise it.
That was an absolute bomb out of here.
That's that lollipop curveball. Little bat flip. Odorizzi in the 4th inning, getting stretched out here in the spring. And threw it again to Marte. How far did this one go?
And when I left the bat, there was no wondering about, well, is that going to make it or not? Got all of that.
Almost hit the TV truck out there. I think it went over it.
That one would have been on the roof of the old boys club.
Probably saw it on his phone. Now that yeah, you can catch the game there too if you want. A little bat flip from McCutchen. Nothing big, but interesting chatter around baseball the last couple of days about the newfangled style of things. As Marte grounds out, and with Bryce Harper saying, he'd like to see more flair in the game, a little bit more personality in baseball. And a lot of people think maybe, the way that baseball is, a lot of respect being played.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Guys have been saying that. When I came up, guys said that. Nothing really is any different. You had the older guys would complain about the younger guys, not doing it the way they should and all of that. And it's just the same type deal.
Odorizzi is done. New pitcher coming on here in the 4th inning. 1-0 Pirates. And Puck stay here on Root Sports as the Pirates wrap up this one against the Rays. The Penguins gearing up to take on the Blue Jackets tonight. Join us from Columbus starting at 6:30 with Penn's pregame presented by Heritage Valley Health System. 1-0 Pirates on a leadoff home run by Andrew McCutchen. Adam Reifer in relief of Odorizzi. John Jaso.
But back to what we're talking about, it really has not changed. I mean, I've read old newspaper stories, baseball articles from the late 40s where guys are quoted about how the rookies they don't have respect for the game, and this and that, and they talk too much and all, and that's the exact same stuff that I heard in the 70s, and now it's always the same. And like, for instance, Harper, when he is 38 and has hit 600 home runs and everything, young guy will do something and he'll say, you know what, we didn't do that when we, it's always been like that. It's not going to change.
Big rip. And Jaso down on strikes. We didn't take a spaceship to the ballpark. We took a car back when I was or whatever,
But like uniforms, guys will, when we always had the real tight uniforms, and we're trying to sneak the pants a little longer. That was, and the older guys that's not the way it should look, and we were even mandated when we were in the minor leagues that we had to show a certain amount of sock all the time. It had to be, and
now pajama pants.
Yeah, so it's there's always something going on about how the younger generation is trying to change things a little bit to how they like it, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, remember when that was first starting, and why can't we see any sock or stirrup?
And now that's going away. Now look around the field. You see them starting to. It's like the hemlines. They're starting to go back up again.
Hard hit, nice play by Schaefer.
So showing a lot of sock. He's able to make that play.
A lot of sock from the bat of Cervelli, but Schaefer getting him out of it. 1-0 on the McCutchen home run.
Pirates Spring Training Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by McDonald's All-Day Breakfast. Breakfast has been liberated. By Bordas & Bordas, official legal partner of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Visit bordaslaw.com. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
As we hit inning number 5 here at McKechnie Field, it's time for our McDonald's player interview. We have the man, the myth, the legend here, Andrew McCutchen. Andrew, first of all, how's camp going for you?
It's going a lot better after that home run I just hit, I'll tell you that. So, but overall, it's been good. It's good to be in Florida, get that Florida sun in you. So, definitely enjoying it.
Camp is obviously a time for players to work on everything and fine-tune their skills leading into the season, but to finally break through and hit that home run, does that do anything for you? If so, what does it do?
Oh, yeah, it definitely gives you a boost, regardless of it being spring training. It still counts to you. So, you know, if you're 0 for 10, you know, it's not like it's like, oh, well, it's spring training. No, you know, it still matters. And, you know, hit a home run like that definitely feels good. Even though it doesn't count, mentally it does.
How much of a difference is it now, the health factor? Last year, the knee was giving you a little bit of issues in spring training. You admit it even lingered into the month of April for you, led to the decreased productivity. How much different do you feel this year?
I feel a lot better. It's just about training myself to reuse my legs again. And that's what it's been all about. You know, wasn't really able to do that last year. And so it's just training myself. That's why they call it spring training. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to retrain, get in those legs again, and be the player I know I can be.
Andrew, no team is ever the same from one season to the next. How do you assess where this team heads leading into 2016?
I'm looking forward to it. You know, as you all know, we don't always all play together. So I haven't really been able to play as a team or as a whole. So, you know, the last few days of the season is really when I'll be able to assess that. But, you know, I see ourselves doing a good job. We're doing a good job thus far, working hard, getting ready.
How about when you look at this outfield? Fans really enjoy yourself, Marte, and Gregory Polanco. What's it like for you being a part of these young guys and watching them grow and watching the guy to your right, Marte, win a Gold Glove for the first time?
Oh, it's great. Those guys are awesome. They make my job really easy out there in center field as far as directing. You know, I definitely enjoy them being out there. We have a lot of fun with each other, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Nice to see you, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Andrew McCutchen, Joe, our McDonald's player interview.
And his home run put the Pirates on the board. And we saw Taylor Motter lead off the frame with the equalizer.
A couple of long home runs. Both of those were absolutely mashed. And, of course, there's a nice breeze blowing out to left field, and even making those home runs go a little further.
This is Richie Schaefer. And McCutchen is out of the game, so Adam Frazier taking over for him in center field. Yeah, you hit a home run, you get to come out, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
take the rest of the day off.
Yeah, you're just out here to, you know, you're getting in your work, your at bats, and you know, that's what the regulars are here for. Now, maybe a little later in spring training, you're getting close to the opening day. You'll be playing a little longer, staying in the game at least close to the end. But the main thing with Kutch is it's good to see and he mentioned it, his legs are healthy.
And McCutchen talking about Starling Marte, and here's our day automotive great day from last season, July 31st. One-run game against the Reds, ninth inning. Starling Marte with that Gold Glove arm, and then making the catch as well, and taking that one away from Marlon Byrd and Mark Melancey with his 33rd save. Starling Marte, great day from last season. A lot of those for him. And looking forward to many more great days from Marte and the rest of the Pirates.
See that gold label there on his Rawlings glove.
You only get that if you win a Gold Glove. Look, it's shiny. Two strikes on Steven Souza Jr. That's a special thing that they give these guys.
Yeah, and they wear it with pride. And I saw earlier today, Marte went over to the railing. He saw Rene Gallo, who's our head guy in Latin America, and he's the one that is responsible for Marte being a Pirate. And Marte went over and gave him one of those gold labeled gloves. Just, I think, a gesture of thanks, and signed it for him.
It means a lot. The talent evaluators take a lot of pride in finding the guys that get developed into really good players.
Yeah, Rene has done a fine job with that here with the Pirates, and one of the big reasons that this organization has turned things around.
Marte and the Pirates tied with the Rays at 1.
quite.
1-1 ball game here in the bottom half of the fifth, thanks to an Andrew McCutchen home run. Well, pitcher Corey Lupke has yet to pitch in a game yet this spring due to a right hamstring issue. In today's Allegheny Health Network injury update, Lupke is actually getting quite a bit closer. He threw 2 innings of live BP on Wednesday, a total of about 30 to 40 pitches, and reported feeling good. He had 2 days off since then, and tomorrow he'll throw another simulated game. If all goes well, Joe and Bob, he'll throw another bullpen and then get into game action. And this adds another lefty to the competition for that last spot in the bullpen. We don't know if the Buccos are going to definitively use another lefty or not, Bob. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but Lupke certainly adds a level of intrigue should he be effective.
Well, there's the guy whose thoughts count right there. Clint Hurdle, I'm sure he would like to have 2 lefties in that bullpen, but
Jason Rogers shooting a base hit to lead off the 5th.
not mandatory.
Well, if one shines, from the rest of the pack, certainly it's a help.
Well, with the only lefty you have down there, for sure is Watson, and Watson is not like a lefty you're going to use anywhere. He's the 8th inning guy. So if you have another left-hander to go with him, then that gives you the freedom to bring that guy in at any time. You want a lefty to pitch the 6th inning, the 5th inning. But you really can't do that with Watson because he kind of has already pre-assigned duties.
Cole Figueroa with a double back in the 3rd, facing Blake Snell, one of the more heralded prospects in baseball, the lefty for the Rays. Strike 2 in there. But there's Snell. But for the left-hander, Lupke has not played in 4 years. 2012, the last time he's been in a big league game. He was a starting pitcher with the Padres. So for him to be healthy, work in relief, see if he can recapture some of that. Clint Hurdle's got a few decisions to make, and that's of course like you're saying, Bob, about barring injury, barring a drastic underperformance or overperformance in the spring. I mean, some eyes may be opened one way or the other.
Yeah, the performance probably has less effect than injuries. Injuries and trades are always really the turning point, because so much emphasis is on what guys have done in the past, track record, over spring training performance. I think a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, if you have a too close to call like situation, then what are you going to base it on other than spring training performance? But everybody knows it. I guess the 2 really toughest months to really say this guy is good or not, or what do you really have, or the month of March, and then September. You can be fooled in September too when the call-ups come up. So you have to kind of take everything with a little grain of salt when you actually are looking at those numbers, the stat numbers from those 2 months, March and September. Not that they're always wrong, but they're certainly not always right.
Michael Morse pinch hitting for Watson. We'll talk to Larry Broadway coming up in the 7th inning. He's due to join us here in the booth, the director of minor league operations. And how is that all figured out? And a lot of it, like you said, September can fool you. What if a guy has a great September, but he's hitting against guys that were in AAA most of the year and not thought of very highly, for instance? When is he doing well as a hitter or as a pitcher for that matter? Figueroa back, and it gets away. And a stop sign on Rogers.
You can hear some of the fans kind of, I think, disappointed that Rogers didn't try to score, but there's nobody out here. It's a big no-no to make that first out of the inning at home plate.
Conger assess the throwing error.
You got an opportunity here for a big inning. Now you have 2nd and 3rd and nobody out, so don't make any mistakes out on the base paths. If there was 2 outs, yeah, you go ahead and send him and make them throw him out at the plate. Game situation has a big effect on all the decisions that you're making out there, whether you're playing defense, you're pitching, you're hitting, you're running the bases, you're coaching the bases. You got to pay attention to the scoreboard. The score, the outs, counts, who's on deck. All these things really play a big role.
2-2. And Moore strikes out against the young lefty. Alan Hansen will try his hand. Yeah, a third base coach very quickly has to decide so many different things. He's got to know, for instance, in the outfield, Rick Sofield, the Pirates third base coach, he's got to know the outfielder's arms. He's got to know the ability of the runners. Jason Rogers, not a particularly fast runner. Maybe if you had Hansen at third in a different situation, maybe you think about that a little bit differently. He has to calculate all that instantly.
Well, I think a lot of it, though, is he has to pre-calculate that before the play even happens. He's got to, right now, Rick's got to decide how much of a chance is he going to take scoring Figueroa right now. He's thinking about the arms out there, where the ball is going to hit. He's thinking, well, there's only 1 out, so I don't want to get too carried away here. Now, if there's 2 outs, that's when he's thinking, okay, even though so-and-so in center field, has a good arm, wherever you're playing, and it doesn't matter. There's 2 outs. If there is a chance that we could be safe, I'm going to go ahead and send the guy, and they're going to have to execute a good defensive play to get him out.
Conger can't find it, but with second and third, no one's chancing that.
Because like you say, there's just a fraction of a second, and you really can't be making those decisions as the play is on. You have to have already predetermined, what am I going to do in a tough situation where maybe he's going to be out, maybe he's going to be safe. And that's where, who's coming up, how many outs, all that stuff helps you make that decision, along with those arms, foot speed of the runner.
And jamming Hansen.
Let that one get deep in the strike zone.
Snell's sawing him off. And Rick Sofield getting that stop sign from Hansen, but evaluating it himself. Third base coaches have to know a lot. They have to know how to dodge a line drive and then or pick a ball up and toss it into the seats too for a souvenir. It's part of the job.
Hansen is really waiting a long time to pull the trigger now on these fastballs. They're getting by him a little bit. Remember last at bat? He struck out on a 3-2 off-speed pitch where he was way out in front, sitting on fastball, kind of cheating to it. Right now he's doing the opposite. He is waiting, and he's barely making contact on the fastballs.
And it's a big difference with Snell because Odorizzi throws 90, his changeup's about 84. Snell's fastball 96, but the changeup about, 84?
Yeah, it actually makes it more difficult to have this kind of an approach with somebody like Snell out there than Odorizzi, because Odorizzi, you don't have to worry about throwing the ball right by you. Now Snell, if you wait too long, he's going to get it by you, and he's right on the edge of doing that. Hansen, these last couple of foul balls, he's just barely swinging in time to get a piece of it and staying alive. But you can see what his approach is. He doesn't want to get way out in front and swing and miss on an off-speed pitch, because he saw what happened to Morse, really, and he knows what happened to him last at bat.
Making the adjustment, and now has worked the count full. Well, it's little things like this. I mean, if this becomes a productive at bat, you look at Alan Hansen's spring training, the numbers look good, but it's stuff like this where he can make an adjustment right after striking out. Next at bat, he takes it right there, and little things for young players that kind of stick in the minds of these coaches.
Absolutely. These are the moments that they're really under the microscope. Maybe not even so much the result, but how was the approach of the at-bat? It's not always about the result, but what was he trying to do?
Works the walk.
And he really had a great approach to that at-bat.
How many young guys on 3-2 might chase to try to do something with 2 men on, and instead he didn't get anything good to hit on 2-2 and 3-2.
And he didn't chase because he was waiting so long to pull the trigger. That's why he was so late on those fastballs. So he was giving himself a chance to recognize, no, that ball's going to be out of the strike zone. I'm not going to chase it. If he was worried about the fastball and getting jammed, he would have to decide, I got to swing a little early. I've got to cheat a little bit to get to the fastball. Now, when something is a little low like that last pitch or a little outside like the pitch before that, much more likely to chase after that. A good approach to that at bat. Nice job.
Polanco batting with the bases loaded. And a pair of solo home runs. McCutchen leading off the 4th. Taylor Motter for the Rays starting the 5th inning. Polanco has flat out and lined out. Loses the bat. And now he's down 2 strikes. Well, a pair of souvenirs. That guy gets a ball. And someone got a bat just above the...
Well, they gave it back, but Polanco didn't want it. He went and got a new one.
Kind of thing to do.
Now that whoever's in the stands is thinking, well, I want it back now. He doesn't want to use it.
Gift and Gope. And they're just kind of passing it around right now. I think they'll probably give it to him between innings. Oh, 2 from Snell. Tried the curveball and missed. Well, the inning started with Rogers' base hit. Cole Figueroa with a 2-hit day. And then Hansen with that really nice at bat. Working the walk. Got the oven mitt on. 1-2. And he went. We can see why Blake Snell is really highly thought of.
And Polanco started walking back to the dugout before he was struck out.
There's the Steele family. My wife Sophie. Logan and Quinn, youngsters.
Taking a little bit of break from the beach.
Yeah. Jason Steele having his family here today. And
Logan's growing fast.
Logan's having a good time with his uncle there. Quinn's still year and a half. We brought our daughter to the ballpark today. She's 3 months old. If you get that young, it's a little tougher.
Logan's at that age where he's like really, knows what's going on, enjoying it, having fun.
Yeah. Baseball game for a youngster. Yeah, he's having fun. Hi. Yep. He knows what's going on.
Yep.
Hey. 4.5, kind of start learning the game. Maybe even keep score pretty soon. Adam Frazier's first at bat.
It's about the age you want to start throwing the curveball. People ask me that a lot. 4.5 is a good age for that.
He's joking, folks. Get Tommy John at 7.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah. Big chance for Frazier here.
I wonder how long a Tommy John is good for. Like, what's the...
Well, we're seeing now guys have to go through it a second time and still try to come back, although after that second procedure, almost no one has been nearly as effective.
Yeah, AJ went a long time with his.
Snell's 2-2 and Frazier strikes out. And Quinn doesn't like this one.
I bet you Logan's all right, though.
Pirates Spring Training Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network, Health for All, and by Barrel Automotive. Our service centers are now open evenings and weekends. Visit barrelservice.com for more. Let's go Bucks!
Pirates, Rays, 1-1 as we start the 6th. Glad you're with us here on this Friday afternoon here from Bradenton. Everyone getting the weekend off to a good start. Enjoying that breeze. Warm day here, 79 at game time. Folks thawing out from up north. Stephen Brault, the lefty, the 4th Buccos pitcher today. And wholesale changes, all the starters now out. And Brault in a good spot here in this tie ball game. We'll talk with Larry Broadway, the Pirates Director of Minor League Operations, coming up. Harold Ramirez having a great spring in left. Frazier still in center. Willie Garcia now in right. Juan Diaz at third. Gifton Gope, the shortstop. Max Moroff at second. Michael Moore stays in the game at first. New catcher Elias Diaz. And that's what we've seen so far this spring from Stephen Brault. Last year a good year for him too.
Yeah, really strong opponent batting average of just 229.
And Gope retires Kiermaier.
Gotta like those guys that don't give up hits.
And Brault, last year splitting time between Bradenton and Altoona.
Strong strikeout to walk ratio also. Good to see.
Yeah, low twos in the walks per 9, and only gave up 4 home runs last year. So kind of a good telltale sign.
Keep it going.
Desmond Jennings 1 out of 2 with that single back of the first. Garcia on the move. And with Jennings' good wheels, he'll get into second base. Stephen Brault.
It looked like maybe a shot at some kind of a play at second base until the ball was just knocked down and not gloved cleanly. And after that happened, it didn't matter, as you said, with his speed, didn't matter what kind of arm you had, you're not going to stop him from getting the double.
This is Logan Morrison coming up. Brault out of Regis University in Denver. And if he makes the big leagues, he'll be the first Regis Ranger ever to appear in the big leagues.
Pulling for him.
I really loved Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. This is I'm so glad that he attended that school. Oh.
Got an interesting tattoo on his.
What is that, like a honeycomb
right,
or something?
Yeah,
what does
it
that
look like? Like a beehive or something.
We'll have to ask him about it. There it is.
I'm not sure.
Circuits or something, maybe. I don't know. Elements, periodic table.
Maybe it just looks cool.
Flip through the book. I'll have the honeycomb with some circuits. And put that on my right arm, please. Look like a brackets. He's got near up the sleeve there. He's got his NCAA brackets there. March Madness. Just missed inside. 2-2 on Morrison.
Maybe it's like molecules, some kind of a compound.
We're going to have, let's
have to find out.
A friendly wager here.
What did he, do you know what his major was as a Ranger?
Yes. Maybe it was forestry. I don't know.
Chemistry? Well, no, I don't know. Is he chemistry major?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That I don't have here.
You mean that?
I'll have to look it up.
That information has to be somewhere. We could find it.
We're going to endeavor to find out. Maybe we can figure out what the tattoo is from. 3-2 into center. Shoestring grab for Frazier.
Nice play. It's a difficult outfield here to get the good jumps. And he did that. Good jump, made the nice shoestring grab, just kind of reaching down.
Adam Frazier only played 29 games in center last year. I mean, they're really a shortstop, but trying to get these guys as they come up to learn different positions.
The shortstops, that's kind of one of the natural places to move those guys is center field. See that occasionally.
Robin Yount made that transition.
They're the shortstop of the outfield.
Yeah, they're the captain of the outfield or what. Kurt Casale takes inside. We are not aware, at least in the media guide, of Stephen Brault's major. I'm going to keep working on this. We got the interwebs up here. We can find this out.
Just Google it.
There we go. And Casale got hit by Brault's pitch.
A lump going down the line. That one stung him. Maybe it is a beehive. Stung them. Oh, just below the knee.
So 2 Rays on with 2 outs. Brad Miller, who was brought in from Seattle to be the shortstop, or at least in a platoon situation.
He's showing the old socks.
Oh, look at that.
You're seeing more and more of that. Yeah, I think it's going to, I would say 5 years from now, it'll be the majority of guys will have gone back to that style.
I'd like to see those stirrups.
I wonder if those are stirrups or.
Well, sometimes, yeah, the sock.
No,
yeah,
those are stirrups. Those are actual stirrups.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, sometimes they're just the look is part of the
painted
sock.
on.
Yeah.
That's what I eventually went to. I got lazy. Stirrups take a little extra work to put on.
And a strike in there.
Just go with the painted ones. Nobody will know.
Well, high def these days.
They didn't have HD cameras back then, so you couldn't tell right away.
Nothing gets past us. 1-2 from Brault. And foul.
And nice location on that fastball.
MLB TV. You can watch every out-of-market game. All 30 teams live in true HD, and including blackouts and other restrictions apply. You get that.
Watch it anywhere you want, whatever your kind of device you favor. Go out to the lake, do a little fishing, watch the ball game. Really a great thing nowadays.
And it's wonderful too.
Remember when I was a kid, I had to take the old-fashioned transistor radio out to
trying to tune it in.
Yeah. Now you can actually go out there and sit by the edge of the water and watch the game.
Miller right between the wickets, and the Rays are going to get the lead.
It was hard to hit, but got to handle those. At least knock it down, keep it in the infield so that you don't give up the run.
It'll be an error on Juan Diaz. And the run unearned to Brault. So Taylor Motter will get a chance, and Euclides Rojas, who is in for a Ray Searage today, acting as the pitching coach.
Hey, you kind of taking his time to get out there. I wonder if I'm sure he knows he's on the clock.
Shot clock down to 15. As long as you break the huddle by 0, I think they're fine with that.
Yeah.
Oh, already shut it down.
Well, he broke the huddle. When he broke the huddle, they turned the clock off. It's like hitting the rim. I guess there's a clock underneath the stands or behind home plate also, didn't there? Got one, they got two, like shot clocks on a.
Motter homered his last time up. This one just misses. And the Rays have another. RBI double, Taylor Motter.
He hit that one almost as hard. He just didn't get that up at all. He really didn't have a chance to let that wind blow it at all. And just hit inches from the top.
Motter hit 14 for Durham in AAA ball last year.
Defense is always such a big part of the ball game. Inning should have been over.
Motter starting a double play today, and a couple of hard hit balls. Trying to make an impression. Hank Conger.
That might come back, huh? No, yes, no.
First row.
Yep.
Well, for Brault, after the error to prolong the inning, we talk about the game within the game, and so as you evaluate Brault, can he get out of that inning after something doesn't go his way behind him?
Absolutely. How is he reacting to something bad happening behind him? Is he getting all emotional about it? Is he starting to stomp around, or is he just kind of cool and calm and getting the ball and going back about his business? He'll be evaluated on that.
Brault among several guys that maybe could be later this year, could be down the road a couple of years from now, depending on how they do. Drop down from the side there. But there's some real good starting pitching depth coming up, AA, AAA, besides Glasnow and Tyone, who get all the herald, and they should. But there are still some more guys like Brault that the Pirates are really intrigued about, and they're all here in camp. Good off-speed pitch.
And that really, if you're going to have long-term success and not just the window of opportunity, you have to develop starting pitching. That's the foundation that every team is based upon. Every winning team has to have good, solid starting pitching. So that is exactly what you want to see out of the Pirates minor league system.
And Gope gets Brault out of the inning. 2 across for the Rays, who lead 3-1.
Pirates Spring Training Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by McDonald's All-Day Breakfast. Breakfast has been liberated. By Kenny Ross, just ask a neighbor. And by UPMC, life-changing medicine. Let's go Bucks!
On the UPMC scoreboard, the Rays now have the lead 3-1. Harold Ramirez in the first look against Blake Snell. A couple of good-looking prospects facing one another. How about Ramirez at the plate this spring? 9 for 14. And he won't be with the Pirates all of spring training. He'll be part of the World Baseball Classic qualifier for Colombia, his home country. That's coming up a few days now. Rare soft contact from Ramirez. Pops out to start the 6th inning. Rays making a slew of changes. A former Pirate, Jeff Decker, now in left field. Mikey Matuk in center. Jake Bowers now over in right field. There's Jeff. Trying to make the ball club this year.
One of the tough things, every year, if you're always on that bubble. I don't know what Decker's situation is over there, but to this point in his career, he's been one of those guys that, you show up in spring training and you're never really sure where you're going to play. Got to get off to a good start. Take the spring season just like it was the regular season.
And on a special Inside Pirates Baseball, we take you deep inside spring training as we wire up several of the Pirates for workouts. Go inside the drills as the Bucks get prepared for the upcoming season on Inside Pirates Baseball Spring Mic Up 2016. It's debuting Sunday right after the game here on Root Sports. See what's going on behind the scenes. Hi, folks. Get some Florida sun. Elias Diaz, the catcher, batting for the first time. He's been off to a good start. 5 for 11 this spring.
He will be the everyday catcher at AAA.
And one day, you would think will be an everyday catcher, if not a starting catcher, certainly a backup catcher. He's so good defensively. But you can see where now that the offense is starting to become more of a strong point for Diaz.
Well, they definitely have long-term plans for him, and that's why they kind of cleared his path a little bit, not having to share a lot of innings, a lot of games at the AAA level, where he'll be able to catch just about every game if that's how they choose to do it.
Diaz last year hitting .271, 4 home runs at Indianapolis. And had a really good winter ball, too.
Wasn't that many years ago where the Pirates couldn't find a catcher anywhere. They used about, I don't know, it must have been about 8 of them during the season, and had to go out of the organization.
And it wasn't that long ago where it was the Barajas and McHenry show where
well, that was the year McHenry finally came and kind of settled things down in that position. But there was a whole parade of guys before that, and now there's a bunch of depth at that position for the Pirates.
And Diaz wraps a base hit. Yeah, a position where even with that year with McHenry, his first year, I should say, good offensively, but. You like a guy that can really stop the running game along with the pitcher, too. And Diaz can do that. Here's another, Juan Diaz. Now, Pirates have really a cradle of depth now, and we'll talk with Larry Broadway coming up. And that's something that Neil Huntington has talked about, Clint Hurdle has talked about, that this camp, there's such a great depth of players at every position, or most positions at least, more than in a long time. (2-0) now on Diaz.
Most people now, when they look at the Pirates minor league system, I think all around baseball, they rank it as one of the better organizations as far as there is. Other organizations kind of want to model themselves after the Pirates minor leagues.
There's Neil Huntington.
He's done such a great job putting this all together the years he's been here. We turned it around.
It didn't happen overnight. It never does. Slow process. What I've been most impressed with from a general manager's standpoint from him, having seen the Pirates a lot from within the division but outside the organization, is he's been very shrewd, keeping a lot of these prospects here, bringing them up, having them be a part of the Pirates, and then also having great success at the major league level. There aren't a lot of teams that are able to do that.
Yeah,
usually one or the other.
Tough combination.
Diaz running. Diaz taking. And 2 Pirates aboard with 2 outs. Gift and Gope coming up. Andrew McCutchen with a home run today. Now, where do you get something like that? Rays are going to make a pitching change here in the 6th. 3-1 Tampa Bay. Nice moment pregame as Bruce Tanner, son of Chuck Tanner, awarding Corey DeHaan the Chuck Tanner Award, and Corey, the hitting coach for the Pirates Gulf Coast League team, and someone from the minor leagues that exemplifies the optimism, enthusiasm, leadership, work ethic of Chuck Tanner, who led Kent Tekulve in the We Are Family Bucks to the World Series in 1979.
It's a wonderful thing that they've come to honor those minor league guys that do such a great job, work so hard, and really don't get a lot of pub, behind the scenes, so to speak. But they're just as important to the Pirates' success that we see up at PNC Park as anybody else. And who better than Chuck Tanner to name the award after? As you said, his enthusiasm, his positive outlook on everything was just infectious. And that's what you want from minor league instructors, to instill that at a very early stage of these guys' minor league careers, to get them thinking that way right from the very moment they come into the organization. And also very fortunate to have Bruce down here, Chuck's son, also longtime baseball player and scout, to be able to go out there and kind of complete that connection to Chuck. It was a nice thing today. And the Pirates have done such a great job, really, of staying connected to their history over the last few years. Another thing that, you look to Clint and Neil and Frank, making sure that that's emphasized, that this is really one of the great baseball organizations.
And we'll have another member of the minor league system, guy who runs it, Larry Broadway, coming up next. Spring training baseball here on Root Sports, brought to you by McDonald's. Pirates trail at 3-1 as we begin the 7th. And we're welcoming in Larry Broadway, the Director of Minor League Operations for the Pirates. Glad you could be with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming upstairs.
Absolutely. It's a good view up here.
Yeah, we got a nice one.
We've just been talking, especially last inning, about the transformation of this Pirate minor league system over. It's started a good half dozen years ago, but what a success story it's become, and really kind of a model for a lot of other organizations.
It's been a lot of fun, Bob, and just watching the guys on the field. It's really exciting right now to see so many homegrown players out there playing like they belong. A lot of work that's been done since Frank got here and hired Neil and brought on Greg Smith and Kyle Stark to really put this thing together. A lot of man hours have gone into it, and the fruits are starting to show, and it's been really fun to be a part of that and come into it.
And for me, coming from outside the organization, I keep hearing about the Pirate Way, and I'm starting to see little glimpses of what that is. Tell us a little bit about what some of the themes are, I guess, as guys are coming up in player development.
I think it's ultimately the Pirate Way can be summarized in just being a pro. Which is really about doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it to the best of your ability, if you had to boil it down like that. And we talk a lot about turning boys into men, and what that means in the context of baseball is about being pros. Really, guys who have passion. You can break down PRO, guys who have passion for something bigger than themselves, and we see that playing out right now as guys who are really committed to the collective and committed to each other on a team. Guys who are relentless, so the aura of it. It's just you're not going to back down, and we've seen our teams play that way, and we've seen the big league club play that way after slow starts. And guys they're just going to keep going. They're going to commit to the process and keep going and trust those results will be there, and playing our best baseball at the end of the year. And we've done that. And the O part is the ownership, and it's when you've got passion and you can commit everything to it and you're relentless in it. It allows you to have ownership of your career, ownership of our organization, ownership of your team, and that's really what it means to be a man in our eyes in the game of baseball, be a pro.
We're looking at a lot of guys, Harold Ramirez there, that that are having a nice spring. Ramirez included, and a base hit for the Rays.
And Gopi didn't catch it. It's a miracle.
It's the first time
he catches everything. I can't believe he didn't catch that.
But we're seeing so many guys contributing here, and so much depth in the minor league system. You got to be pretty proud of what's happening so far with so many guys just showing their wares here in Major League Spring training.
No doubt, and it starts with the scouting who have done their homework and really put in so much time, so much sacrifice to know the players beforehand, to know the guys coming into the draft for us to get the right fits, to work through the development system, and our coaches from the Dominican all the way up are the ones pouring into these guys every single day, and it's fun to now see it up here, and they see it up here, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes that have put in a lot of sweat equity, so to speak, into these guys and really pouring out and trying to get them here.
A lot of times you see minor league systems that guys can kind of come in waves, and sometimes those waves are even just all pitching, maybe not much in the everyday player, and vice versa. With the Pirates now, it looks like there's a little of everything, and it's not really a wave. It's almost like a tide that's moved in. It's constant, and I know that's by design. But how can you maintain that?
Well, I think, like I said, it goes back to the scouting piece, and sometimes it does come in waves because you'll have different crops that there may be a large college group one year and then a large high school group the next year, and so that college group is going to progress a lot faster, and then that high school group will kind of be a couple of years behind, so you may get a few years later you're going to get a little lag when you get to the upper levels where you wind up filling in with some AAA free agents and using those guys as your major league depth, but now we've got a really good setup coming as far as our Dominican players, or our guys who come through the Dominican Academy, and then our drafted players are just kind of working their way through, and it seems to be every year guys are stepping up and becoming the next guy up.
When guys get that first full year with you, at what area or what place do you ideally start the high school guy and the college guy?
Well, I think it depends on the guy, depends on their level of maturity. Typically, out of the draft, a high school player will go to the Gulf Coast League, and a college player will either go to anywhere between the Gulf Coast League, Bristol, or New York Penn League in Morgantown, West Virginia. And that really depends on, where that guy is. Are we betting on a body and an athlete to try to get him in? It could be a little cruder. It could be a guy who's a little more polished and ready to go. That really depends on the guy.
If it's a college guy that's very polished, but then next year we have an opportunity to play here in Bradenton, high A?
Sure. Yeah, we've done that. And looking at, just for example, last year, Kevin Newman, we took in the first round, started in Morgantown, actually moved up to Charleston, West Virginia towards the end of the season, and he's slated to start here in Bradenton this year in his first full season. So yes, that definitely happens.
Well, one guy that I wanted to ask you about that is not here with us, but I've been hearing great things about, is Austin Meadows. He is definitely on the fast track, I guess.
He is. He's done a great job. Hampered a little bit with injuries a couple of years ago, and last year really had a good full season. Was able to play and played really well, and found his way up to Double-A at the end of the year. And just he's a solid kid, solid young man, and works tirelessly. He's an advanced approach at the plate. Plays center field, can run, can steal some bases, and really a fun player to watch play.
Will you stick with us for another one?
Sure.
All right, more of Larry Broadway coming up. Time to stretch on this Friday afternoon here in Bradenton. And we're chatting with Pirates Director of Minor League Operations Larry Broadway, and there's some guys that we've seen here in camp that maybe will be Pirates not too long from now.
Absolutely. These guys have been fun to watch grow up, and it's fun to watch them kind of move around on the field here now and really get close. You get excited, on the backfields of Pirate City. You see everybody, you dream, you hope, and as they move over here, it kind of, you see them and they move around, they look like they belong, and they walk the same and they talk the same as the rest of the guys, and it's fun to just kind of see them grow up and see them believe in themselves and everybody else believe that they're ready to go.
Now, what? Go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead. I was just going to ask about one of those guys, Josh Bell. How's he doing in his becoming a first baseman? Is that going fairly smoothly for him?
It has. It's come along quick, especially in the last few months. When we moved him over there right away, it was new for him. He's never done it before. So the finer nuances around the bag, working your feet around while tracking throws and actually just taking a regular ground ball is something he'd never done before. So that took a little bit. He took his lumps getting used to it over the first year, but as he progressed and came into minicamp this year in January, really took huge strides. strides. And then when he showed up in spring training, even more. So he looks like now that he looks like a first baseman. He's looked like he's played there before. He continues to improve, and he's the kind of young man. He just doesn't take no for an answer. He believes he can do anything, and so you put a challenge up there, he's never going to back away from it. He's going to try that much harder to get better and to achieve how he believes he's going to be the best. And so it shows every day. He works tirelessly at it. He wants to be the best, and it's awesome to watch him grow.
I've noticed that a lot of the guys and many that are in the game today are playing 2 different positions, 3 different positions. You know, Josh Harrison, when he came up, kind of doing the same thing and then became a big league regular and an all-star. Is that by design that all these guys are kind of getting action in different spots?
I think to some extent now, you know, the good thing about where our organization has got to and where our major league club has got to, it's really hard for a young player to just break in as a regular. You know, you're not going to. It's going to be tough to break in front of Jordy. It's going to be tough to break in front of Jung Ho. Before with Neal there at second base, and now with Harrison there, you know, our outfield is pretty tough to crack. So the more versatile our young players can be, the better chance they have to come and help us. So if we can have them be able to fill in at a bunch of different spots, it gives Clint a lot of options. If they get on the club, they can do a lot of things. So one dimension, if you know, typically if you're rebuilding an organization, you got some priority type players, you're going to try to keep them at one spot, because when they break in, you're going to want them to be every regulars there. But the way we're set up now, it's best if those guys can play multiple positions for us as an organization as a whole, and for the skipper on the current club.
And that kind of goes back to what you first said about it, instilling the mindset to these guys to buy in, to have ownership, and so that they're willing to do those kind of things, right? They're willing to go to the left field, willing to go to second base, whatever's asked, so that they can help the team as a whole.
No
Maybe
question.
Not necessarily the individual stats.
No question. No question. We call it pirate math. 1 + 1 = 3, and it's guys that are all in together. They can, you know, they're committed. They're sold out. They're sold out to just celebrating each other's victory. So they just want to contribute to part of something bigger than themselves, and going out and winning championships and doing it with each other is what they're sold out to right now. And it's just, you know, it's going to take all of us, and whatever it takes, it takes. Those guys are ready to step up and do it.
Well, this guy that we're seeing at the bat right now, Max Moroff, Player of the Year last year in the minor leagues, and you know, it's not always you draft a guy and they're automatically a good player and then they just make it to the big league. Sometimes a guy makes a big leap, and he was a guy that really took that big step last year.
No question. No question. The year before, playing in the Florida State, he's always been young for the level we pushed him his first full season to play in A-ball in West Virginia and at a high school. And so we've just progressed him along. He's continued to get better. And the year before last, when he was here in the Florida State League, you know, played every day. This league is hard to play in. It's hot. There's not a lot of fans, but he went out and he posted every single day and grinded to get through and to just get the work done. And then when he got to Altoona last year, kind of some things just started to fall into place for him. The work that he'd been putting in really started paying off. His approach at the plate started paying off. His defense started paying off, and he had a really, really solid year for us.
Now Reese McGuire coming out to pinch hit for Chad Kuhl, and this is the first big league camp for McGuire, a catcher, and just turning 21 years old. And
which is another amazing thing, the depth you guys have of catching now throughout the system. I mean, we were just talking earlier about how a few years ago we went through about 8 catchers. Didn't have one in the organization that could come up, and now they're just stacked like cordwood.
Well, it's a knock on wood. It's a good thing to have, and as you mentioned, that year we had I think we had 7 or 8 guys catchers in the big leagues, just injury after injury, and so you can never have enough. You can never have enough good catching, and we feel definitely blessed to have that, as these guys, our scouting again has done a great job identifying players and bringing in guys in who are good fits in the organization, and they're doing a great job at developing and just grinding it out and being good players.
McGuire into that ending double play. You got one more half inning in you? Sure. All right, Larry Broadway coming up, 3-1 Rays. Rays 3, Pirates 1 as we begin the 8th, and in the 7th inning, a little bit of a new rule, of course, over at second base, trying to get adjusted to that. And Michael Morse, what's the take on that? And Morse trying to figure out, was that a legal slide? Was that not a legal slide?
Well, I should certainly hope that was a legal slide. I mean,
well, everyone's trying to figure it out. Larry Broadway joining us. The Pirates.
I think one of the rules there is if you set your line early, I think he was set his line towards the outside part of the base. You cannot cross the baseline to go after.
Came back in?
Yeah, that may have been what they were talking about, because he looked like he set his line towards the outfield side of the baseline, and then may have crossed into the inside to try to at least get a little contact there, even though he was pretty much at the base.
Now, is this something that you can work on down in the minor leagues too? So when these guys come up, the major league guys have to adjust to it too, but you can kind of maybe do it a little bit more.
Fortunately, that's exactly how we teach it in the minor leagues, is that you set your line early. So all of our practice sliding and breaking up double plays is the initial read of set your line right away, and then stick with it and go with it.
So Roller aboard at second base to start the 8th inning. And, some of the guys that we've seen today and we've seen so far this spring training, there are a lot of guys, Larry, that look like they can help out in the starting rotation down the road.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's exciting. Tyon Glass now, Cool, Brault Williams, all those guys should get some significant time at AAA this year and be ready for some sort of contribution at the major league level in the near future. They're all exciting in their own various ways. Jameson coming back from a couple of just tough injuries for him, but he's better for it. He feels like he's better for it. He has not wasted the years. He's watched a lot of film. He's excited for the opportunity to pitch again. He's just trying to get his feet back under him, facing hitters, and just get some of those things out of the way. Glass, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've been surprised at how polished he looks after such a long layoff, that you could tell he really has put in the work.
He has done a ton of visualization. He's done a ton of watching video, just a ton of collecting his thoughts, learning how to think better, think more effectively on the mound and off the mound, and he's in a really good spot right now, a really good place.
How important is thinking? I mean, you think about these days, teams, including the Pirates, have people that work with the mental side of things. Well, 90% of the game is half mental, right? And Yogi Berra said it years ago. I guess he was onto something, right?
Everything you do starts with the thought. So you're either adding to your performance or taking away with it with every thought you make. So it's very important to have championship thinking 24/7. That's on the field, off the field, everything you do. It's going to start with a thought. So the better you can think, the better you're going to perform.
Well, things have really changed. I can remember him telling me, "Quit thinking out there. You're thinking too much."
Now they teach you how to think.
Yeah, the trick is not to tell yourself not to think, but to think the right way.
Exactly.
Visiting with Larry Broadway, the director of minor league operations.
Of that other group, I guess the guy we've talked about for a couple of years, Glass. Now, I mean, where do you see him?
He's coming along. He's exciting to watch pitch. He's an excitable guy as well. So you see some flashes of as he progresses a level. AA to AAA last year when he's coming out pitching in big league games for the first time. There's a level of excitement for him, and when he doesn't time it up right, he gets a little wild. But he's settling back down and really fun to watch pitch. Just it's fun to watch him work too. This kid. The young man, when he came in, he wasn't throwing 97 to 100 or wherever he settles in at now. He was 86 to 89, and just watching his work in the weight room, watching his work and meticulous throwing program and everything, he's put in a lot to get to where he's at. So it's been really fun to just kind of see him develop and see him grow, and he starts to believe in himself a little more and get some more outings under his belt. He'll settle in just fine.
Well, he came from a great baseball program, Hart High School.
Well, Clint Hurdle's got to feel good, about not only those two guys, but we're seeing Trevor Williams here today. We've seen Chad Kuhl here today, Stephen Brault, and those names, those three guys, probably the average fan has not heard of as much as the other two, but these guys could factor in into the rotation down the road too. Tell us a little bit about
Absolutely. If you're starting in AAA, you get a chance to help the big league club soon. So So Trevor Williams, obviously we got him in a trade for Miami this offseason. Picked him up out of the fall league. Actually, he had to drive across to the other side of Phoenix to come play for our club. But he's fun. He's a big workhorse. Went to Arizona State. Kind of a higher profile guy, power arm, two-seam, get the ball on the ground. But, you can see him logging some innings. He's a big, strong guy, and he's got some firm fastball, ability to throw a slider, and get a lot of ground balls. So exciting for him to kind of see him over here and get in a Pirate uniform and get some innings under his belt and see how he progresses in our system. Stephen Brault, we had gotten in the Travis Snyder trade from Baltimore last year, really had a great year. Started out here in Bradenton, worked his way to Altoona, had a tremendous second half in Altoona, helping lead that club into the playoffs. And just a really good command pitcher, can go to both sides of the plate. He's got some velocity on his fastball. I wouldn't call him a thumb or lefty, but he can pitch and he can move the ball around. He's got a decent changeup, a good slider. He can throw both sides of the plate, and he can really nail the extension side on his fastball. So it can be a weapon against right-handed hitters.
How common is it when you get a high school player that's got, say, a big frame to be able to add to their stuff? They add velocity, add sharpness to their breaking ball. Are there programs you guys have in place to try and increase a young 18-year-old stuff?
I think when you look at him, it's what you're betting on. You're betting on, or what you're projecting on to see that. There's an athleticism there. There's a frame that can hold more mass. There's quick twitch. There's arm action delivery. There's things that you say, all right, well, he's either underdeveloped, hasn't developed yet. He's got arm speed, but maybe not strength yet. There's things we can do. Just eating, strength and conditioning programs and throwing programs that you're going to get stronger anyways. You're going to throw harder anyways. It just depends on what you're projecting on to really how much gain you're looking at.
I know that the nutrition has really become a big deal in the modern game, and that's gone all the way down to the minor league system, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We take it very seriously all the way starting at our academy in the Dominican. We have food. They have 3 meals there a day, and the menus, it's not just a cafeteria that you go in and eat.
Right.
They're purposeful, and we've got our nutritionists and our strength conditioning coaches and other guys who feel very passionately, other experts on it, that are helping us craft menus and not only what we're eating, but the timing of when you're eating it, and when you need energy, when you need recovery, when you anti-inflammatory type foods, things like that are just going to help you increase your performance.
Larry Broadway, our guest. 2 on for Williams here. And, you talk about all the different things that the minor league system has today, the investment that has been made. Life for a minor league player, Bob, when you were in the minor leagues, probably to today, and I don't mean about just, having a meal provided for you, but also the level of instruction. How many coaches were on your teams?
Oh, yeah.
Versus now, for instance.
I never had a pitching coach until I got to Double-A. I mean, you used to have the big staffs that you have now, and so many people, and there's it seems like you've brought in so much expertise from other fields. It's not just the quote-unquote baseball coach. It is the nutritionist, like we were just talking about, the people that teach you how to think and what to think about. I mean, we kind of, I chuckle sometimes at this stuff, but it's really important, and it's things that these youngsters have to learn how to do.
Yeah, no question. There's marginal gains to be had in your performance just from your body, from your mind, how you think, how you eat, how you rest, how you recover, how you train. All those things help build a baseball player's skill, mind, body, heart. So it's not the skill; it's all the things that support the skill that allow the skill to play out. Not only one game, but also just the durability to play out for a whole season. So those things are huge. They're, it's the competitive advantage this day and age. Nobody's teaching a new swing, nobody's teaching a new delivery. So where are you going to find your competitive gains? And you've got to do your diligence and sell out as an organization to your beliefs and then go get it. And we've done that. We've tried to bring in like-minded people who are really talented and really skilled at different areas of performance and try to maximize our guys the best we can.
After the walk here, bases loaded.
Well, there are so many new technologies involved too. With the different ways you can replicate the hitting with the batting cages they have, the pitching machines they have nowadays. I mean, it really has opened up all kinds of different avenues of training for these players, really year-round now.
Yeah, no question. There is something. If you're willing to learn, and if you're willing to train, and if there's going to be something you can do, no matter when it is. Whether it's even if it's not live reps, you can get video on a program and actually watch a pitcher and do pitch recognition if you want, just to increase your reps on seeing pitchers release points and not have to swing. You know, you're limited to a certain amount of swings. You don't want to blow out obliques, but you can sit there and get reps another way.
I can remember Jay Bell in the dugout. He had a little book with Polaroids of guys, of pictures like taken from the center field camera. They look like, they must not have been Polaroids because they were, get foul so we can talk, yes. So, but they were on seeing where guys would let go of the ball, and he would like thumb through those in the dugout before when somebody would come in. He would look so he could have that mental image of where this so-and-so will release the ball.
Yep.
We've come a long way.
But now the technology obviously allows that to happen in a much more efficient way now.
Now you go down and just have the video guy queue up his last 20 pitches and you know, watch them next to each other and figure out what's what.
Well, guys can see their at-bat seconds after it's happened.
No
they can go
even in the minor leagues now.
Yeah. Yep, and that's a blessing and a curse. You got to be careful how much you're analyzing, overanalyzing. You can get focused on the wrong things real quick. You know, if you're going in and worried about your swing all the time or worried about your delivery all the time, you know, you're going to stop trusting it and you're going to start thinking about that. But, you know, if you're focused on your intent and you're focused on your approach and, you know, did I swing at the pitch I wanted to and testing those convictions, then it's a great tool for you. It's just a matter of making sure guys are being disciplined with how they use them.
Just missed to make it 2-2. Trevor Williams trying to wriggle out of this bases loaded situation.
So over at minor league at Pirate City right now, have they broken up into teams yet, or are they still just in your working groups?
They're in working groups. I mean, it's rough teams. We don't even call them you know, Indianapolis, Altoona, Bradenton, West Virginia right now. We call them Alleghenies, Burgers, Pirates, Bucks for a couple of reasons. One, to just add some pirate history to what, you know, where the Pirates were before that, and two, just because it's not real. But the guys in all the Indianapolis clubs here, pretty much.
Yeah.
So we keep those just in work groups as they play games until really we get close to the end. You know, the last week or so of the season, when the bulk of the players who are going to be in Indianapolis and Altoona from the big league camp are moved down, and we have a closer semblance of what the clubs are actually going to be, then we'll start calling them, you know, by
what
the
they
name.
are. Yeah.
Let's see what Trevor Williams can do here. And he'll get him. Strike 3 call. And Larry Broadway, thanks for spending some extended time with us.
Larry, it was our
insightful.
pleasure. Thank you very much.
No problem.
We're going to move to the bottom of the 8th inning here in Bradenton. It's 3-1 Tampa Bay.
presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Tampa Bay holding on to a 3-1 lead. I want to thank again Larry Broadway for joining us and filling us in on the Buccos farm system, getting some insight from him, and really a lot of what spring training is about, at least on the field. Certainly off the field, that's a lot of what it's about right there. Steve Geltz in his second inning, working to Adam Frazier. And, really getting a feel for the Pirate way and how the Pirates have been so successful at developing so many players already, and now with a farm system that a lot of people think is one of the best.
And they have to. The key is to maintain it, and that's really the hard part. Keep the pipeline open.
And the organization of the year from Baseball America, and really lauding all different aspects of player development. And Neil Huntington has helped put the pieces in place for such great success at all levels. And a lot of these guys, who knows how they will factor in this year. There's a base hit for Frazier. Sometimes it's guys that come up because of injury or lack of performance. They just force their way up, and sometimes they can be used in a trade too. So it's a very valuable commodity to have.
Absolutely. You think of how important it was last year when we were able to get Soria to really make the back end of that bullpen so solid for the stretch run. You're able to do that because you have good players coming up in your minor league system that you can use to acquire something you need for the last month and a half or 2 months of a season. The pennant drive.
And if you do trade that person or people because of that depth, it doesn't necessarily mean you're hamstrung for years to come. There's other guys that you can also use.
You have to understand that everybody is fairly smart, and if you want to get quality, you have to trade quality. That you're not going to be pulling the wool over somebody's eyes very often, and if you do, then nobody wants to deal with you anymore. So you better have some quality young pieces to give up if you want to get that piece that maybe will put you over the top. Whether it's a spring training trade or in the winter or a trading deadline during the season, you got to have some coins to spend.
Cash in those chips.
Yeah, you have to have those decent prospects that other teams might want.
Harold Ramirez fouls it back. He's been fun to watch this spring. Guy that we hadn't really heard a whole lot about because he hasn't played above A ball so far.
Well, swings the bat.
Already, he popped out today, but 9 hits. That leads the Pirates in spring training. Now, of course, he's playing at the end of these games, and a lot of times he's facing guys that would also be in the minor leagues. But a lot of those guys are AA and AAA type pitchers. And again, Ramirez has not played above A ball yet. So he's facing, for him at least, advanced pitching.
Mm-hmm.
And he cracks this one to right. And that's going to be extra bases again for Harold Ramirez. Frazier is going to be held at third. And Harold Ramirez continues to scald the ball this spring training.
To all fields. They got a ball up out over the plate. Just really a perfect pitch to try and drive in that opposite field gap. And able to get it deep enough to where it made it all the way to the wall. He's the tying run.
Now hitting .625 in spring training, 10 for 16. Willie Garcia bounced out his first time around. And Geltz with a runner hung up. Ramirez thought Frazier was coming home. And no one covering second base, so Garcia able to get there. They just get the one out.
Yeah, all he had to do was just stay alive long enough to, let Garcia get over into second base. I mean, it's the same thing now. You were going to have second and third and one out, and well, that's what you have, second and third, one out. Right now, just stay alive. Don't let them tag you right away. And it's no big deal. He turned in a little bit of a miscue. He thought Frazier was going, and he didn't. But he was able to turn it into something that no big deal. Now you get the same situation.
Now there's going to be one out somewhere, so second and third, one away.
The worst thing he could have done there would have been trying to hurry as fast as he could, get back into second base and get tagged. And now it's first and third instead of second and third. So he showed pretty good instincts there, staying alive.
Elias Diaz. And just back in time at third. Depew with a quick throw. Ooh.
That was a close one.
Got in by his fingernails.
No replay.
Base hit could tie it. Strike to Diaz. He had a base hit back at the sixth. Pirates got their run on a leadoff home run by McCutchen in the fourth. Here's the 1-1. And now Diaz ahead in the count. Chance to impress, as he has this spring, like many of them.
Got that base open. Throw a breaking ball behind in the count. Only do it again, 3-1.
This will get a run home.
Maybe another one.
And off the facing of the seats on that throw from Robertson. And the Pirates within 3-2.
Almost got 2 runs home on that flick of the wrist. Like he had a little more time to set his feet than
Diaz.
Than he had.
Getting a run batted in, and the Pirates on the verge here in the 8th. This year's Pittsburgh Pirates home run 5K and 10K presented by Allegheny Health Network and Highmark, set for Saturday, April 16th. And everyone who signs up gets a Tech t-shirt, a ticket voucher good for a Pirates game. And families can join in the fun with that Chick-fil-A 1 mile family fun run. Register today, pirates.com/home run. Let's get a home run right here. Pirates been trailing. A run across. Eddie Gamboa, the new hurler, facing Juan Diaz.
It was Juan that made that error that cost a run earlier in the ball game, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Could have been the third out of an inning.
Good chance here for a redeemer.
Yeah. Rays scored the 2 go-ahead runs in that 6th. Diaz coming over from the Marlins organization. Takes a curve inside. Diaz, very tall shortstop by nature, but also, as he is today, plays third, a little second base. Had a cup of coffee with Cleveland 4 years ago.
And when you look down at him, he certainly doesn't look like a typical shortstop.
I don't look down at him.
No.
Maybe you do.
No. A little big for a shortstop. Gamboa's numbers last season.
And they won't get anybody. And the equalizer comes across. Garcia scores.
Shaky infield work for the Rays. With the poor throw on the ground ball to short, and now it could have been a double play. They end up not getting anybody.
Karakuto trying to make that nifty throw in turn 2, but Robertson couldn't hold on.
Yeah, another part of that new slide rule is that there's no more, just be in the neighborhood type deal for the second baseman or the shortstop. They actually have to have their foot on the bag when they receive that throw. That'll be another thing we'll be looking at this year.
Yeah, imperative that you stay there. And a lot of guys have grown up with that neighborhood play. They may not really know what they're doing around the bag.
It may be a bigger adjustment for the infielders than it is for the base runners when you think about it.
Yeah, I'm curious because, in high school you don't have that situation where you have to get out of the way or leap. And Gope takes a strike. Curve at 65 miles an hour. That might be more of an adjustment. I think you're right. And Gope trying to give the Pirates the lead today. They had one briefly after McCutchen's home run in the 4th. Rays tied it on a home run by Tyler Motter in the 5th. Motter narrowly missed a home run in the 6th inning. Doubled to bring home the 3rd Rays run. And Gope. This will give the Pirates the lead. Diaz scores. 4-3 Buccos. Gifton Gope with a great time for his first spring hit.
And Gope, that's what he has to do. He has to hit to be a successful big leaguer. He has all the other tools.
Big RBI, capitalizing on the 2 Rays errors in the inning. Michael Morse has walked and struck out.
Interesting to see Morse's playing time, how it's going to evolve at first base. What kind of a share are they going to have down there? Will it be a strict platoon? Will it be more 50-50?
Morse takes a floater inside. It's 2-2. You're telling us, Bob, take some credit for that. You noticed that Gamboa has been throwing a knuckleball.
Yeah, he's throwing knuckleballs this inning. And
there's one right there. And that's going to get him out of the inning. Knuckleballer for the last few years with the Rays. But the Pirates have a 4-3 lead. Pirates Spring Training Baseball presented by McDonald's. Next telecast for you as the Pirates will host the Detroit Tigers on Sunday, 1 o'clock. Tune in as we'll have more fun with the American League ball clubs. And I'll be joining Steve Blass on the broadcast that day. Right here, the Pirates with 3 in the bottom of the 8th, capitalizing on a pair of Rays errors. Have a chance to close it out in the 9th inning with A.J. Schugel, the 7th Pirates pitcher here this afternoon.
I was hopefully he can close it down rather quickly. It'd be nice to. Doesn't really make any difference. It is spring training, but pick up a W. Haven't had one in a while.
Pirates 2-7-1 in the spring. Surprised they even keep track of the standings in spring training.
Well, they got to know who to give the free TVs to. That used to be. I'm sure they don't believe in it. But a long time ago, that was what they tell all the rookies. You win the Grapefruit League, everybody gets a free color TV. That was back when it actually cost a lot of money for a color TV with tubes in it.
You had to say that it was color.
Oh, yeah. There was still a lot of black and white TVs back then.
Nice big set. Take up half your living room. Made of wood.
The big console. Yeah. You change channels. I had the dial, made that nice thunk, 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 thunk every time you went to a new channel.
Jeff Decker now full on him after he had a base hit. He's going to try to make his way onto this ball club. Same kind of a role with the Pirates, probably AAA, and then needed for depth, but trying to open some eyes here. And on a nice play by Max Moroff, he does so right there.
Showing some arm strength with that off-balance throw. Put it on a line over to Morse.
A former shortstop.
Yeah, that's all arm. There's no setting of the feet, anything. Just throwing back across his body as all of his momentum is taking him out to left field. Nice job.
Yeah, all those years as shortstop until last year, moving over to second base. Mikey Mott took a strike. Now the versatility, we talked with Larry Broadway here today of all these position players who can really play all over the field, and Moroff, no exception, ends up becoming the minor league player of the year for the Pirates after switching positions last year. And was also not only just a good hitter and increased in that department, but also led all the second basemen in fielding percentage, turning double plays, assists. Adam Frazier in center field today. Shortstop by trade as well. You've talked about it, Bob. You draft guys that play up the middle, those center fielders, those shortstops, those catchers, and they can kind of filter to the other spots around the diamond.
Yeah, that's always kind of where your elite guys are, as far, especially defensively. Always look for the good gloves toward the center part.
Gifting Gope has really flashed a lot of leather this spring training. 3-2 from Schugel. And Frazier can't get to that one.
Kept it in front of him anyway, just a single.
Jake Bauers will come up, and the Rays with the tying run aboard with one out. Rays now out hitting the Pirates, but Pirates with 9 hits today. Rays have made 3 errors. Bauers flat out his first time. Good strike in there from Schugel. Schugel came over to the Pirates, selected off of waivers. He was actually claimed by the Mariners after the Diamondbacks took him off the roster. And strike 2. Schugel growing up in a baseball family. His dad, a former catcher in the Twins system, now a scout with the Reds. Framed it nicely. And Bauers down for the second out.
Schugel able to just kind of paint this one right on the outside edge.
And good presentation by Diaz.
Another one of the things that Diaz is known for, not just the cannon arm, but nice soft hands, not a lot of glove movement, so it makes it look like you're right around the plate. You see that glove moving all over the place, kind of makes you look wild. So the quieter the hands are, the quieter that glove is, the more it gives the impression that, you know, you're putting the ball right where he wants it. You see guys like moving all over, stabbing at it, and a lot of movement after the ball hits the glove. It's like, I think it makes the pitcher look like he's wild. But he is nice and quiet as he receives the pitch.
Last chance for the Rays. They will roll her out in front. And Schugel a strike away from preserving the victory. $7,330. Originally taking this one in. Two-strike pitch. He struck it out. And the Pirates come back and beat the Rays this afternoon. Final score, Pirates 4 and the Rays 3. And taking advantage with some nice late situational hitting.
I took advantage also. There were some opportunities with some, shaky defense there by the Rays, and that's what you do. That's the difference a lot of times in these ball games. Is any ball game, whether it's March or January, or March or July, if the other team wants to open a door for you, you got to step through. And Pirates were able to do that and snatch this one away late. But really, I think the main thing is, you look back to the beginning, you had a home run by Kutch, which is something you're looking for. Nice long home run, and of course Juan Nicasio able to stretch out the 3 innings. Looked pretty good. Do a lot of strikes.
Well, Nicasio still unscathed this spring. 6 scoreless innings as Trevor Williams wins it for the Pirates. Hey, stay tuned here on Root Sports. Coming up at 6:30, Penguins pregame as they'll take on the Blue Jackets later on tonight. Final here from Bradenton. The Pirates win it 4-3.